Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm the co-host and the noob Caliban, and it's a Chibi Chibi is a nightmare and here for our souls jam!
We're a couple of magical people ready to Moon Eternal make up this episode. Today we are talking about episode number 186, Chibi Chibi no Nazo, Osawagase Daitsuki Seki in Japanese, and the English translation, Chibi Chibi's Mystery, The Big Noisy Chase, and the Chinese title, Zhao Zhao de Mituan, Jinga Tadong da Zhuzhong, Little Mystery, Earth Shattering.
Does it take a long time to say things in Chinese?
I think maybe it does.
Don't they have another picture language?
They do.
Okay, yeah, Earth Shattering.
Yes.
We'll see. I might challenge that description, but we'll see. We'll see. We have a lot to get through today. We have a welcome to the show, by the way.
Yes, welcome to the show.
Well, I was welcoming you, but I guess,
thank you.
Welcome the listeners as well. We have an earth-shattering amount of comments. We have a comment avalanche.
Oh my goodness!
People have found the comments.
Okay.
And so we're gonna read all the comments.
Okay.
But in the future, if we get this many comments, maybe we'll just read some of the comments.
Okay.
And we want to make sure that we get the comments out. We have comments on Spotify. You can go to Spotify on your phone, on your computer, and tell us what you thought of the episode by writing a comment. We have more than a few comments on our last episode, 185, Taiki's song filled with passion and faith. Skater Kid 13 says, one of the best episodes for stars. My favorite being the episode where Seiya sleeps over, aka the one where everyone finds a reason to go to Usagi's place. And yeah, they did miss out on not bringing Nurse Minako in for a final hurrah in this ep. Gotta say, I'm sad to see this pod is almost done, but keep up the good work anyway.
Thank you.
Well, like we said before, don't be sad. Be glad.
Yes.
Be glad that we had this time together.
Yes.
Now I'm going to cry in the bathroom.
Oh my God.
Do not go in there, no matter what you hear. Thanks for your comment, Skater Kid. Black Star Raven says, oh, this is a little skit. Okay, so it says, knocks on door to make sure no one's behind it. Backs up and drop kicks the same door open. It's the Japanese way. Referring to the over-politeness of literally everybody who approaches a door in Japan. Thanks for your comment. Listener Shelly Bez says, I found this podcast 2 years ago during my rewatch of Sailor Moon. At the time, the ending felt so far away, but now with only 15 episodes left, yeah, I think our math's right, it feels like time is speeding up. After all this time, how do you think it'll feel not being a noob anymore? I can't wait for you to see how it all wraps up, but also sad, this chapter will be closing. Don't be sad. Save your sadness. We've got 15 episodes left.
That's true.
You don't want to be sadded out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to ruin the premise of the show, but I don't feel like a noob now.
Yeah, I get that.
Except for the fact that any real Sailor Moon fan worth their salt that goes on their Japanese snack, I don't know why there's salt, knows how it ends. I don't know how it ends, obviously. I can make a few guesses, but I feel like I have a feel for the show now.
Yeah, I think so.
But I think it'll be, don't say sad. Not being a noob anymore means we'll be done with the show, and that'll feel weird, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
But otherwise, it's always good to start something, and if it's something that is going to take a long time to complete, is going to be an effort or a task, it'd be good to know that you haven't wasted your time.
Yeah.
And so I guess my weird answer to that would be, I will feel like I accomplished something.
Yeah, for sure.
And I enjoyed the time that I spent doing it. So I think that's how I'll feel. So thanks for the comment and the question, Shelly Bez. And Bryant says, this was one of those episodes where it focuses on Ami, although she had to share the spotlight with Taiki. That's true.
Yeah.
Plus, I would prefer that Dr. Phage over Pharmacon.
Oh.
You remember Pharmacon?
Was that the...
She was the Rosie the Robot-looking, needle-handed robot that was back in R, the droid.
Yes.
That was causing trouble during the Nurse Minako episode. Yeah. Dr. Phage went down pretty easy.
I think so,
and
too.
Pharmacon was kind of tough. I think I would probably, I'd be betting on Pharmacon in a fight between the two. But
yeah, me too.
But Dr. Phage does. I look at Pharmacon and I go, I get it. She's a evil doctor robot. But Dr. Phage it stayed with me. Why the cross?
Why the cross?
Why the green?
That is true.
They all have pointed ears, but why the extreme, like the goblin ears? Is he a goblin? I don't understand. So it does kind of stick with you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Thanks for your comment, Bryant. We also have some comments on some slightly older episodes as well. Want to talk about those?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's talk about the comment that we got for episode 181, Seiya and Usagi's heart-pounding date. This comment is from Roby No Keef 1, I think I got that right, who says, finally someone who agrees with me about the Notebook. Crying laughing emoji. If the Notebook has no haters, then I am dead. Crying laughing emoji. Yeah. I don't get the Notebook, but I don't think that, look, maybe we're being too hard on the Notebook. Because the Notebook's not a movie that's meant to change. Well, I guess it's changed lives, but it's not meant to win any awards.
No.
It's not meant to prove anything cinematically. It's to make you feel things, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So, I don't know. I guess that's okay. Of course, we R.I.P. Jenna Rollins.
Yes.
Old lady in the Notebook. But, I don't know. Maybe I'll give it another try. But, yeah, so far, not loving the Notebook. Thanks for your comment on episode 175, Becoming an Idol, Minako's Ambition. We got a comment also from listener Bryant who says, I just love it when Minako gets a spotlight. That's my girl.
Yeah, I love Minako episodes.
I think we know who Bryant loves.
Yes.
Sharing my love for Sailor Venus. So thanks for your comments on Spotify. Like we say, you can always go to Spotify, leave a comment on your WebTube or your phone cell and all those places. Let us know what you thought about the episode. And scooting over really quick to YouTube, we have a YouTube page. It's at Just Enough Trope on YouTube, where all of the network shows are posted in that format where it's just, it's a still picture, but you can listen to the podcast if you're doing something. If you have YouTube on your phone or on your computer. And we've got a couple different comments. These are connected to specific episodes, although I'm not sure which one. Maybe we can guess which ones they are. We've got a comment from Carrie Ann Care, 1876, who says, thanks for the Chinese, Japanese, and Korean history lesson.
Oh, wow.
Try to guess what that was.
I can't remember.
We were talking about Chinese and Japan and Korea. The triad.
The triad.
No, they're not triads.
No.
The triangle. That's something different.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the things that I love about this show is learning things that I didn't know before.
Yeah, I love learning that too.
We do that every episode, thanks to Mika's efforts. So thanks for your comment. Moonstar138 comments, since I can't comment on Spotify, oh no, I got to do it here. But my God, have you guys seen the previews for episodes? Basically, once the outro ends, it plays a short preview of the next, and it always has funny moments. And we know about that.
Yes.
And early on in the process, we made the decision, the executive decision, to not cover that part of the show.
Yeah.
It was partially to protect my newbie status.
Yes.
They're not really spoilery, but you know how it is. I'm like a bloodhound for clues and things like that.
You can guess things from it.
And yeah, and I like to go in totally cold, to every episode, which I still do. So we don't watch those. One of the things that I would enjoy if and when I go back and watch the entire series again, which I'm not going to do it right away, but I'm definitely going to do it in the future, is going to be to absorb those.
Okay,
because
sure.
I like how those are little sketches in themselves.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I can't find my hat. Is this your hat? Oh, that's what, and then they're also talking about what's going on in the episode. And
right.
The characters are probably like, hey, why don't I get any lines? Oh, shut up, Makoto, and things like that.
Yeah.
What was was it His and Her Circumstances where the voice actors for the show would come on? They would do the next time on, and it would be them in the recording booth.
It might have been.
And
I
they
can't
would be
remember.
like kind of partially in character. They did that for the English dub. I don't know if they did that for the Japanese one as well. But
okay.
So yeah, thanks for reminding us about those, Moonstar. And God, I wish that there was like a YouTube channel that just had
those
the bumpers for all the episodes, and then I could just watch that for half an hour.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But yeah, someday I will go back and watch those. And of course, I guess there'd be nothing at the end of episode 200.
That's true.
That would be it.
Yeah.
Just a dial tone.
Oh no.
Nothing. Or maybe the honeymoon. No.
Oh my God.
And one more comment on YouTube from user Ninten70, who says, "Happy Friday the 13th, guys. That little girl knew about the Starlight's message." She did. Well, why is it important that it's... Or is that... Okay, it was just Friday the 13th. I thought it was like she's some sort of like creature ghoul from Friday the 13th. Who can read the unknown messages within songs.
That's what I thought it was, too.
The Judas Priest backmasking. Very dangerous ability to have. But you can always find our videos and podcasts on YouTube at our Just Enough Trope channel. And if you're over there, leave a like, subscribe to us there, and leave a comment. We don't talk about it, but people have definitely found it and use it. And if it's convenient for you, you can try doing that yourself.
Cal, can you tell us what happens on today's episode?
Yes, and strap in.
All right, I will.
It's going to be bumpy. I hesitate to describe this episode as Lynchian.
Oh my gosh.
But I can't think of anything else to call it. Maybe we'll come up with something as the show continues. We open with a view of our hero, Usagi Tsukino, looking to the sky as we see the contrail of a passenger jet above her, a somewhat melancholy image that reminds us that Usagi's love, Mamoru Chiba, boarded a jet plane and hasn't been seen since.
Yeah.
As she looks to the sky, her reverie is shattered by the sound of a motorbike being kick-started. She twirls to face the sound, and as the vehicle flashes past her, she detects the subtle air of pizza?
Where's the pizza?
Her stomach rumbles as the delivery driver takes off down the street, away from Pizza Festival. And she screams, "I'm hungry!" Pizza Festival!
That's pretty great.
For the first 20 seconds of this show, I thought it was going to be, the girls are going to go to a pizza festival. No, I think this place is just called Pizza Festival. So a little weird starting off here. It's starting like a 90s pizza rolls ad. Because she would chase after the moped and fall down. And then, don't worry, Mom's got pizza. And then it shows the pizza, and the pizza like claymations into a bunch of pockets, and then they eat the pockets. Right?
Yes.
All 90s ads are either like strange transforming foods or testimonials. Or both. Every 90s ad was a testimonial.
Yeah.
It's just some white person staring into the camera. And they're like, if you got hemorrhoids like me, you need quick relief on contact.
Oh my God.
And it doesn't matter what it is. We just wanted some white person, in a polo shirt or something to tell us how good this product was.
Right.
And then sometimes you'd rub two deodorants. One's the leading brand and the other's it's on your arm. And that one's all gunky, but this one's good.
Right.
Pizza rolls. The pizza way to snack. Usagi screams her way down the street. We all scream for pizza rolls. I scream. You scream. We all scream as the plane plunges into the Pacific.
Oh my God.
Where is Mamoru?
I know.
We descend into Usagi's mouth and uvula wipe to the Tsukino household.
Yes.
This is a silly show, but I feel like strange mouth-related wipes are the way that it communicates to the audience that this is going to be a silly one.
Yeah.
Luna would be proud.
Yes.
Say, where is Luna? Didn't Usagi used to have a cat?
Yeah, she did.
She hasn't been around for a while.
No.
Usagi, hungry for food, skids into her family's living room, screaming, "Mama! Where are the snacks? I'm hungry!" But she does not see Mama. She does not have the per-episode fee for Mama to appear. So maybe no Mama. Instead, she sees little Chibi Chibi sitting at the coffee table, a doll on her knee, and a smorgasbord of snacks and sweets arrayed before her.
Yes.
You know American Girl dolls?
Yes, I do.
Are they Japan Girl dolls?
I don't think
There ought to
so.
be.
But yes.
There ought to be.
There ought to be.
You got Jomon woman. She's making a pot.
Yeah, sure.
Some sackcloth tied around her waist.
Yes.
You got 14 varieties of geisha woman.
Yes.
You have Heian court lady woman.
Yes.
Girl, whatever. Woman. You got Moga.
Oh, yeah.
Moga girl.
Sure.
Oh my God.
Watch out.
Don't leave your son. Lock your sons up.
She has makeup on.
They must have had, you got working in a factory woman,
Sure.
right? They must have had a Rosie the Riveter
They must
situation,
have.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, obviously, you know, I'm glad that they lost the war. It sounds so bad. I'm glad they had bad ambitions in the war.
Yes.
And so I think hopefully they would agree. It's good that they lost. Not that people died. But the point
Right.
I'm getting to is the winners get to write the history. And so our Rosie the Riveter is like a heroic figure. Whereas they must have had something too, right? To say like, women, we gotta get it done.
Yes, they must have.
So, I don't know. Make something out of that. Just don't sell it outside of Japan. You've got 80s late Showa era woman
Sure.
in her twirl power suit.
Of course.
Her antennaed cell phone. And then what's the new one?
The new one is
Purple hair.
yeah, purple hair.
You
You
got-
gotta have purple hair.
You got big titty goth Japan girl doll.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Have a Gunguro Japan girl doll.
Yeah, and then you have in special cooperation with Shinjuku Station, you've got the Shinjuku girls.
You have a Skibon girl style.
She's got her fan turns into a switchblade.
That's right.
She's not going to class.
No, she's carrying a chain.
Yeah, right. Which doubles as a belt.
There you go.
Yeah, it's so nice. I'll be an angel investor in that, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, the doll that she has looks like Witchfinder Barbie. I know it's like a style. It's, it's late 19th century porcelain doll, but it just looks really creepy.
It does.
As Usagi contemplates this abundance of snacks, Luna! There she is. Luna walks in and says, your mom went grocery shopping. And Usagi says, oh, God, I'm hungry. She's hungry. If that's not getting through, she's hungry.
Yes.
She sits down next to Chibi Chibi and asks her where she got her doll. Chibi Chibi answers, doll, because she's pre-verbal, remember?
Yes.
You were never going to get an answer there. Huh. But that's the thing with kids. You got to keep talking to them.
Yes.
That's how they learn. They'll be swearing like a sailor soon enough. Just keep it up.
I got my money, bitch.
Chibi Chibi reaches out for a donut. No idea how long she's been at this.
No
There
kidding.
might have been a Homer Simpson amount of donuts here. But her clothes are relatively clean, so maybe this is the first one. Catching her on the first bite. And maybe she's been chilling, just in front of the TV, watching Wolf of Wall Street.
Go get a job at fucking McDonald's, because that's where you fucking belong.
Luna says she's been carrying that doll around recently. And Usagi says, yeah, where are my snacks? As she watches Chibi Chibi just housing donuts. Luna says, looks like there aren't any. Usagi pouts, and she does something I don't think I've ever seen in anime before. I know about the sweat drop. I know about the blood coming out the nose. I know about the bubble coming out the nose. She pouts, and she, star eyes Chibi Chibi. Like, she looks really forlorn, and stars, shoot out of her eyes.
Oh, I didn't catch
over
that.
to Chibi Chibi. I guess it'd be like the visual version of please.
Yeah, right.
Please. Like Disney face.
Now she's going to make the Disney face. Her lip is going to quiver and her eyes will flutter, but they won't ever actually close. But do not feel sorry for her.
She gives great Disney face. Well, apparently it works because Chibi Chibi turns to Usagi and says, here, and holds out a donut to her. And Usagi's like, arigato. You are a good girl. Someone got in touch with the Japanese Voice Actors Union because Ikuko Mama comes home.
Yes.
And Usagi is there to greet her as taiko drums pound. She says, I'm very pleased to welcome you back home. And she gives her the zarei from Seiza.
The deep bow, yes.
Yeah, Brutus should have said zarei to Seiza.
Oh my gosh.
Where's this crook coming from? No, I'm not leaving the stage. As Usagi bows low, Ukuko says, that's weird. And Usagi's like, ha ha, please give me snacks. And Ukuko says, oh, whoops, I forgot. And Usagi crumples to the ground crying, you're terrible, terrible. You gave so much to Chibi Chibi. But Usagi, she needs that food to prepare for her cocoon state. This is only the larval form of something much worse.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, Ikuko says, I didn't give any snacks to Chibi Chibi. I don't want her to get as many cavities as you. And Luna laughs, and we get a little scene of Luna appearing in Usagi's mouth and stabbing her tooth with a trident, and the screen shatters.
Yes.
Forget Lynchy, and this is like 80s Nickelodeon. This is like you can't do that in anime. Usagi says, "Are these your snacks?" and points to the living room. But Chibi Chibi and the snacks are gone. What's going on here?
What's he building in there?
We got to Usagi's room where she's at her desk, fiddling thoughtfully with a pen and saying to herself, Chibi sometimes goes off somewhere all by herself. I mean, other than when she goes to the DMV for Mama. Or if she's getting the car detailed. Do you know where she goes, Luna? And Luna says, I wish I knew. And Usagi says, come to think of it, we don't know anything about her. They just live the kind of life where a girl showing up in their house unremembered, it's a thing they take for granted.
Yes, exactly.
It's like living with Diddy.
How so?
Read the paper. Luna says, Usagi's child? Chibiusa's child. Now that's something that I didn't think of. Because I'm a sane person. But I guess once you start looking into the future, where does it stop?
Yeah.
Babies having babies.
Oh my gosh.
Have you met my kid? Have you met my kid's kid?
When the children are having children, you know, it's just how small are they going to get?
Luna says, Usagi, you don't even know if she's your child. And at times like this, Usagi should just have a little bell that she rings. That'll shut Luna right up. Also, I was thinking, cats have litters, so a Diana begs the existence of many Dianas.
No, you're right.
When are we going to see them?
You're absolutely right.
Schrodinger's litter. Cat litter.
Yes.
Usagi says as much to Luna, and Luna's like, well, life is funny that way. Sometimes the Avon lady gives you a panic attack. C'est la vie.
Oh my God.
Anyway, all this contemplating is making Usagi hungry. And she says that, throwing herself on the ground and hugging a pillow as she tosses back and forth, saying, I'm so hungry. Rolling. She says that.
She says that?
Yeah, I'm so hungry. Rolling. As she turns over, Chibi Chibi appears. And I mean appears in her room. The door is still closed behind her. I don't know how she got in. Holding her weird doll. And she offers Usagi a handful of candy. Are we in a Twilight Zone situation here?
Oh no.
It is a good life, after all.
It is.
She's going to wish her into the corn snack field.
Oh my gosh.
Just keep coming faster and faster. Usagi's like, umaibo, right? Those are the toasted corn snacks, the corn-looking tube things. Supposedly
yes,
Japanese people love them.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Usagi's like, wow, for me, you're totally different from Chibiusa. Usagi, isn't that a clue? She's giving up food willingly. She's not related to you. Run! Run! Chibi Chibi says, who? And Usagi says, don't worry. It's a long story. About 2.5 seasons worth. And Chibi Chibi says, story.
Oh my God.
Usagi thinks, I wonder, where does she get all these sweets? We cut to Marzipan Castle, which is on fire. Bariani's throat has been ripped out.
Oh my God.
No, we cut to Chibi Chibi walking in the park near Tokyo Tower, her doll in her arms, and just behind her are Luna and Usagi, who says, there must be a world of sweets. She's going to the land of chocolates. Finally, this is 100% Usagi's reaction to this mystery.
Yes.
An unknown girl has appeared in my house, brainwashed my family. I gotta know where she gets her candy from. Luna agrees. She says, are you in high school? What a dumb idea. We see Chibi Chibi walking down an alley and Usagi following, hiding behind trash cans. Careful, Usagi. You're going to see too much. You've seen my spacecraft. Now I must kill you.
Oh my God.
Usagi says, I'm so excited. I want to see the world of sweets. This is literally just a Simpson bit at this point.
Yeah, it is.
Simpsons did it first.
Oh,
chocolate, half price.
Chibi Chibi turns a corner, and when Usagi and Luna creep up to follow her, she's gone. And Usagi thinks, she couldn't have gotten far on those little legs. Maybe teleportation? Or extrasensory perception? Maybe she's got stilt-based powers like Stilt-Man.
Stilt-Man?
Stilt-Man, one of Daredevil's fiercest and oldest enemies. Debuting in 1964 as Daredevil number 8.
Oh my god.
Try to stop a man on stilts. And this whole time Luna's like, this is nuts, but I got nothing better to do. Just more licking my butthole.
Oh my god.
It's a Saturday. Usagi continues to walk the alleys looking for her mysterious, whatever their relationship is, and she bumps straight into Rei and Makoto. Rei is like, so I says to the guy, I says to him, and wham! All three of them are on the pavement.
Yes.
Usagi says, have you seen Chibi Chibi? I lost her around here. And as Mako talks to Usagi, we see Rei like trying to twist a kink out of her neck from the fall.
Yes.
And when she finally gets it, it's like, and the words, feels good, flash on the screen. This is totally something that you would have Jack Nance do in the background while Dale Cooper is trying to explain his method of finding, Laura Palmer's killer to everybody.
Yes.
There'd be somebody going, I can't get this, I got it stuck in my ear, or something like that. That or she means Feels Good, the hit single by Tony, the New Jack Swing Band.
What?
Could be either one of those things. Having turned her head to make this happen, Rei is looking in the right direction to see Chibi Chibi walking on a wall next to the street. And she's just like, But the girls are like, if she falls, she could get hurt. And we see Chibi's little foot slip off the wall, and she begins to plummet towards the sidewalk. The Senshi stare in horror. But they needn't avoid, as Chibi Chibi deploys an umbrella that allows her to float safely to the ground.
I'm been popping, y'all.
Unfazed, Chibi Chibi continues down the street, and Usagi says, let's go. As Rei and Mako look at her like, is there going to be a bad guy this week? We cut to Chibi Chibi's little feet disappearing through a hedge along the side of the street, and Usagi sticks her head through the hedges at Chibi Chibi foot level to scare the crap out of Artemis on the other side. Minako and Ami arrive to see Usagi with her butt sticking out of the hedge, while Rei and Mako are wishing they were part of a different superhero team. Hey, how do we get into the card capturing racket? What's that pay? Later, the squad and Cats stand near the main road in Juban, all looking sort of embarrassed. And Artie says, what are you guys doing? And Ami says, is it hide and seek? And Mina says, yeah, what are you doing, Miss Grown-Up? And Usagi's just like, Suddenly, Artemis springs up and says, look, pointing across the street. The girls look and see Chibi Chibi in the middle of a busy street.
Yes.
Press X to Chibi.
Oh my gosh.
Usagi runs out in the street to get her, but is almost immediately hit by a car. And she jumps back on the curve, thinking, I need to look out. Chibi Chibi, however, just continues on across the road, dancing between the raindrops. Daihatsu raindrops, that is. The Daihatsu raindrop is a fun, sporty coupe that will definitely not get you a vehicular child slaughter bid.
Oh my gosh.
A white guy comes out. If you want to not kill a kid with your car, try the Daihatsu raindrop.
Oh my god.
Starting at 89.99 yen. Usagi says, does she always walk around like this? Minako says, it's a miracle she's lasted this long. Yeah. Just then, Luna and Artie pop in with signs that say, use the pedestrian crossing, and let's reduce traffic accidents. But let's put on these lampshades.
Yes.
And Luna says, good boys and girls use the crossings. Here's a problem that I noticed. The show has become self-aware of its goofiness.
Yes.
This is bad.
Okay.
When they're like, look how funny are you? This dad, he's landed 3 jokes in a row at this cookout, and we're never going to be rid of him at this point. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
it's
I know
bad.
what you mean.
And speaking of kids, it's like when a kid says something funny, probably accidentally, and then starts saying it all the time.
Because they
over and over, trying to get their parents to laugh again.
Yeah.
This is how we got Pischetti.
Yes.
These little hacks. Chibi Chibi walks by a sleeping bulldog because this is just a Freelang cartoon now, and she sits down next to it as it licks her face. The squad watch this from behind a corner as Minako says, she's not afraid of that big dog? Makoto says she doesn't judge by looks. She acts like Usagi, doesn't she? And Ami says, so she's Usagi's second child? And Usagi says, oh, please, Ami. We see Chibi Chibi wave goodbye to the bulldog and walk away, and the squad follows, trying to casually walk by the dog's house like, oh, nice day. And they almost get away with it, but just as they pass, we iris into the dog because this is a Freeling cartoon, and he explodes after them, dragging his doghouse as he chases them through a world of speed lines.
Yes.
As she runs, Usagi cries, I'll never be late to school again. I'll stop stealing Chibi Chibi snacks. And Ami says, it likes Chibi. And Mina says, but it doesn't like us. And Ray says, who did you say it didn't like? Have you seen my hat? Oh, you mean this hat? There it is. The girls tear around the corner, and the dog follows, only to run straight into a telephone pole and knock itself out. Panning up the pole, we see all 5 squad members clinging on for dear life, and from the pole, we see Seiya, Taiki, and Yaten walking down the street. They see the squad, and Seiya says, what are you guys doing? In Juban Shopping District, Chibi Chibi continues her odyssey. A buckwheat soba seller drives by on a moped and waves at her saying, how you doing? And Chibi Chibi says, doing. An older lady in a kimono comes up to her and says, please visit me next time, okay? Okay. A woman in a suit and tie sees her. I don't know if this is a reference to something or if she's just smartly dressed. She's like a big Eurythmics fan. And she says, you have a cute doll, don't you? You're a baby? See, babies having babies having babies.
It's just going to get into this ridiculous Russian doll situation, isn't it?
Chibi Chibi says, Chibi Chibi's Chibi. Hey, I'll do the jokes, show. Okay, thank you. You leave it to me. We are 14 minutes in, by the way. Not even halfway. Apparently, 3 lights have also joined the cult of Chibi Chibi because as they also watch, Yaten says, that doll? No, it's unlikely. Okay. Chibi Chibi sees a 500 yen piece on the ground and she picks it up. And Ray says, she's got money.
Look out.
Ami says, what's she going to do next? She's got a gun! Run!
Oh my God.
We see Chibi Chibi go into the Juban police station and come skipping out, presumably turning the coin over to Lost and Found.
Yeah.
Which is what the cops mainly do in Japan.
Yes.
That'd be a funny crime film. If you go into a police station, you try to bribe a cop, and he's like, oh yes, I'll put this in the Lost and Found box right away.
Yeah, right.
Seeing this, Ray says, she's great. Chibi Chibi acts like Chibiusa, doesn't she? Ray, stop reminding us of Chibiusa.
I know.
We have to deal with Chibi Chibi now. We must accept this and move on. Besides, Chibi would have held up the police station. Just got the gun. All right, give me everything in the Lost and Found box.
Oh my gosh.
Mina says, so she's Chibiusa's child? Sensing his own hopes fading like a Back to the Future photograph, Seiya pops in and says, what's up? She's your younger sister, right? And Usagi's like, I don't remember anymore. And Manako's like, that's crazy. Well, forget it. And Seiya says, why are we following this kid? We see Chibi Chibi arrive at the gates of a mansion that says Kiriyama on its gate. Across the street crouches the squad and 3 lights, and Usagi says, at last, the land of sweets. And Seiya says, what? We see Chibi Chibi push her way through the gate, and Usagi says, let's go. And the kids and cats run through the gate. On his way by the sign, Taiki says, Kiriyama. That sounds familiar. Inside the big house, the squad and the lights are impressed by the rich decor of the place, but there's no one home. There are many statues and works of art in the foyer, and Ray says, wow, this big stone must really be worth something. But Yaten says, that's not a stone, that's a modern art carving.
Okay.
Well, what's it carved out of, smart guy?
Well, then think before you talk.
QED. Usagi says, how much is it worth? And Yaten says, oh, about 15 million yen, which is about $100,000.
Wow.
Now I'm worried about this rock.
Yeah.
And I should be. Ray somehow slips and bashes her head into the rock, and it starts wobbling, and she, Yaten, and Usagi all throw their arms around it to keep her from teetering. We see more art. We see a fine grandfather clock and a painting of St. George in the Dragon.
Okay.
Which is a popular theme. I don't know why it's in a Japanese house. And it's kind of in the style of Rubens. Rubens has a famous painting of that. So it looks kind of like that one.
Okay.
And Yaten is blown away by this. Usagi thinks she hears Chibi Chibi's voice, and she looks through the window of a French door to see the little magenta scamp having tea with an older man who says, "What do you want to play today?" And Chibi Chibi says, "Doll, doll." And he says, "You want to play doll?" And we zoom into the face of the weird doll.
Yep.
Just like eyes glow red. No, we see a glint in Yaten's eye as he says, "I see. That doll must be Junhu." And Ray's like, "Gesundheit. What's that?" And Ami says, "It's an antique doll worth 10 million yen." And Usagi says, 10 million yen? We cut to Chibi Chibi offering the doll some tea. Poor tea's on the doll.
I know, right?
And Usagi says, maybe that teacup is worth something? And Taiki says, it's Wedgwood jasperware, which is from China from the 18th century. It's real.
Okay.
That's a real thing. Yaten says, a tea set is worth about 100,000 yen. And Usagi's like, please don't break it, Chibi Chibi. A bead or a piece of candy or something rolls off the table. Maybe it's an ancient bead worth 1 million yen. But it rolls off the table and the man turns around to watch it and the kids can now see his face. And three lights are like, it can't be. And Minako says, bushy eyebrows. Yeah, I know. He can't afford threading. He's got all this expensive art. His tea set's 100,000 yen. No, come on. He's got to go natural. Taiki says, no, he's the head of the Kiriyama group. And Ray says, the big zaibatsu? The Kiriyama group? Interesting. Yaten says, the hidden leader of Japan's economic industries. Taiki says, he's also the sponsor of our next concert. A teacup shatters as it hits the floor. And Usagi says, no, who's going to pay for that?
Yeah.
The old man hears this and turns around to see the girls covering Usagi's mouth like... And there's a weird moment where he sees Usagi and Usagi sees Chibi Chibi and Chibi Chibi sees them both. Who is going to pay for this? Hopefully not the audience.
Yes.
Later, everyone is sat down for tea and cookies and the man says, so you're Chibi Chibi's sister and you ladies are her friends and you're... Yaten runs a hand through his hair. I don't know you guys. And Yaten's like, ugh. Taiki says, we met at a party recently. We're three lights. The old man looks at Chibi Chibi and says, the tea's good, right? And Seiya says, wow, you really don't remember us. And the man says, no, sorry. And Yaten says, we're super popular idols? Smash! Chibi Chibi drops another teacup. And Usagi spit takes and says, there goes another 100,000 yen. But the old guy says, that's okay. Don't worry. Donburi Kuri. And everybody's like, phew. What a weird thing to say. He says, when I talk to you, I feel young. And Minako says, well, if you like it so much, we'll come to see you anytime. And Ray's like, really? The old guy says to Usagi and Chibi Chibi, you look exactly alike. I saw it right away. And Seiya says, well, they are sisters. But the old guy says, but they seem like more than just sisters. You have the same aura. Oh, never mind. Okay. Woo. And an equally old servant comes in and says, Master, a guest has arrived. And the old guy says, I'm not expecting a guest. A table for 10 around him here. Usagi says, oh, well, we'll be going. And the old guy says, please visit again. Oh, almost forgot. And he opens up a jar to reveal candies. And he says, please take some. And Usagi's like, yes, I knew it. As the gang walks away from the house, Yaten says, that was a weird house. Chibi Chibi, however, realizes that she's left her doll behind. As Ray asks Usagi, so why did we come here? And Usagi says, well, Chibi Chibi often disappears. and she always comes home with sweets. So I figured there must be a world of sweets, and I knew I could get into that world if I followed Chibi Chibi.
You just don't get it here.
It's a world of sweets! Ami says, Usagi, that's unscientific. Wrong! Wrong! She made an observation. Chibi Chibi gets sweets from somewhere. She crafted a hypothesis. There is a world of sweets, like unto Candyland.
Yes.
She tested her hypothesis by experimentally following Chibi Chibi throughout town. She got the result of her experiment that Chibi Chibi was getting sweets from an old man, and she was able to falsify her conjecture and call the police. That's literally how science works on me.
Yeah, right.
Yaten says, frankly speaking, that's stupid. See, that's an opinion.
Yes.
That's fine. Not scientific.
Yeah.
He's got us there. Seiya says, it was fun. Usagi is embarrassed and says, well, I think I hear my mother calling. Come on, Chibi Chibi. But Chibi Chibi's not there.
No.
Usagi says, well, I'll get her. Walks back onto the grounds of the house, calling her name. She hears a scream, and we cut to the foyer of Kiriyama Mansion to see the old butler laid out, and Kiriyama facing down Coco Michelle and Macaroni Karasuma. Karasuma says, are you Kiriyama Gyotaro, the star of the Japanese economy? We want to know more about you. Coco leans in and says, we haven't introduced ourselves. And Karasuma says, so what? As Usagi runs towards the house, we hear another scream, and we see Kiriyama having his starseed removed by Sailor's aluminum siren and lead crow. As they watch, the starseed turns black, and the animamates are once again disappointed. But we hear, hold it right there! I won't forgive you for disturbing an old man's love for a small child. It's not what it sounds like. In the name of the moon, I'll punish you! Eternal Sailor Moon is here, and she's up on the second floor balustrade. Wasting no time, Lead Crow says, Sailor Antique, get her! And the evil sailor's phone booth whisks them away. Kiriyama transforms into Sailor Antique, a, Blue Knight-looking guy?
Yeah, pretty much.
With spurs? Like St. George, I guess.
I guess so.
There you go. Sailor Moon leaps down to face him as he charges towards her, sword drawn, and Chibi Chibi comes toddling between them, holding her doll and a bag of gumballs. She trips and the gumballs spill on the floor, causing Antique to fumble to stay upright. Sailor Moon says, Chibi Chibi, get out of here! As Sailor Antique raises his sword and says, take this! And swings down at Sailor Moon, who catches the sword between her hands.
Yay!
Wow! Watching all that bleach finally paid off. As they struggle, Antique says, how saucy. Uh-oh. But he is tickled by a feather held by Chibi Chibi. It's very effective, and Sailor Antique laughs as he throws himself backwards into the wall, causing a nearby vase to fall from its plinth and shatter on the floor. And Sailor Moon is like, oh! And Antique starts crying solid tears that bop Sailor Moon in the head as he says, you broke it! You broke my stuff! He's pissed. And Sailor Moon falls to the ground saying, sorry, how much? I'll compensate you. And Antique yells, 500 million yen! And Sailor Moon is like, what?
Oh my god, I know.
Sailor Antique picks up a glass from a nearby display and says, this glass is Venetian and costs tens of thousands of yen. Uh-oh. I'm getting shades of Moonraker here.
Yeah.
And they're fighting in the Antique Glass Museum.
Yes.
They're like, oh no. He tosses it underhand to Sailor Moon, who dives to the floor, catching it. Antique picks up a samovar and a cup, saying, this is a Dyson's coffee set worth several 100,000 yen. And he throws them both in opposite directions. But by stretching her body, Sailor Moon manages to catch them both. Just like Sylvester when he's trying not to wake the bulldog, right?
Yes.
Trying to eat Tweety. He knocks over the dish cabinet. The dishes go, boop, 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 boop. He catches the last one on his toe, right?
Yes.
The bulldog's still sleeping. This is just a cartoon now. Antique lifts a vase above his head and says, this! Chibi Chibi. Chibi Chibi crawls between his legs. This is Omari's vase! It costs several million yen! And he throws it straight up! Usagi leaps up in an arc to try and catch it. This girl's not athletic.
I know.
Come on. Somewhere the track and field pervert girl's fingers are twitching.
Oh my gosh.
Chibi Chibi decides to get into the act, and she yeets her doll into the air. As Sailor Moon says, "Don't imitate him!" The doll tumbles end over end in slow motion as Sailor Moon dives to catch it, like Michael Irvin going after a baggie of Coke.
My God.
She pulls it in, but fumbles the vase. Come on, Usagi, ball control. We watched film about this. And the vase goes tumbling out of her hands to shatter on the floor. And we get reactions from everybody. Ah! Oh! Chibi Chibi! Antique says, "What violence! I won't forgive you, Sailor Moon. You're out of the draft." Sailor Moon says, "What? You're the violent one. What matters is not the price of the goods, but the heart of the people that use them." And Antique says, "Don't pretend to understand. I'll finish you off. Sailor Antique-chan power!" And he summons a horse! Oh no!
I know.
Flashbacks! This whole time! An old man! A young girl! It was right there in front of us!
Oh no.
This horse should be named Trigger!
Oh my gosh.
And then we see Sailor Antique, like, riding a one-wheeled merry-go-round horse?
Yes.
While Chibi Chibi claps?
Yes.
So I guess the real horse was in his mind or something
I
like
think
that?
so.
This is the actual horse?
Yes.
What was in that tea? Well, forget that shit. Star-sensitive inferno! Remember me now? Sailor Star Healer blasts horse and rider, shocking the hobby horse apart and sending Sailor Antique to the ground as the horse's head slams into the chandelier. To the chandelier! Smoking but unbowed, Antique rises to his feet and says, "That was nothing!" And that's when you hit him with the chandelier.
Wait until he gets to his feet.
Then hit him with the boulder.
Yeah, you're right.
Chuck Jones 101. Sailor Star Fighter and Sailor Star Maker say, "Now, Sailor Moon!" And Sailor Moon gives us the shtick, returning Kiriyama to his original form and restoring his starseed. Sailor Moon rushes to check on him as Healer says, "Oh, the chandelier! The chandelier!" But Maker says, "All that has form breaks down someday." Yeah, thanks. Get out your checkbook!
Yeah, right.
Sailor Moon sees that Chibi Chibi has her doll once more and says, "You managed to keep the doll safe." And Chibi Chibi says, "Yay!" and throws the doll up in the air, which shatters into a million pieces when it hits the ground.
Yes.
Priceless. Usagi and Chibi Chibi are walking home as Usagi thinks, "What a kid." She kneels down to look closer at Chibi Chibi and says, "He said we look alike. What do you think?" And Chibi Chibi says, "Nothing." She just tilts her head.
Yeah.
Usagi says, "Well, anyway, we might be related. Oh, let's go home." And the two walk into the sunset and crushing dead. Is a weird show.
It is a weird show.
Is it possible that Chibi Chibi has what I'm going to call a loonification field?
Yes.
Where she makes everything a Looney Tunes cartoon?
Yes.
When you're around her?
I can see that.
Because it's just fucking like, this is the first, she's throwing cake into people's face. She's got great timing.
Yeah, she has
She's
great
throwing
timing.
cake into people's face. She's showing up with cupcakes on her face.
Yes.
She's, this is a vase. Good stuff.
Gumball timing.
And I feel like we were promised, isn't mystery in the title of this? I thought we were promised like an answer to, there's no answer to the mystery.
No, there is no answer.
mystery was revealed.
Yes.
Watch as Chibi Chibi reveals a mystery. That's what we've got. We're a long way from Brambles.
What's Brambles?
Usagi and the Brambles. Brambles. Remember the pathos, nay, the almost bathos of Usagi fighting to save the life and love of her true man.
Yes.
As a zombie evil queen who came back from the dead.
Yes.
In the land of dreams to make her life hell one more time. And then cast herself, as the evil queen to be defeated, even though they already did the dragon. That was Esmeralda landed that one, but in a fairy tale.
Yes.
And Usagi had to risk life and limb and pain of death and physical harm to liberate both Mamoru and really her adversary, the aggressor.
Yes.
Well, forget all that shit. Chibi Chibi's got a doll.
Oh my gosh.
She's Mary Poppins, y'all. What happened?
I don't know.
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying we had this started out, they're going to be in high school. Hold on a minute. We've got to really frustrate Calaman for 7 or 8 episodes. And we're going to get right back into it. And when we do, people are going to be like, well, I think I got a new uniform and it's a new day. And then it just turns into a young girl comes in the future. Very mysterious.
Yes.
Also, something's happening. Somebody's doing something. We don't know what it is. There's 15 episodes left. I have no idea who they're fighting.
I liked how silly this episode was, so.
Oh, I'm not saying that I didn't like that. But wow, they really. Sometimes it seems like you get a break from the Sturm and Drang, and then it's like I don't know. They're gonna go water skiing, and there's gonna be a lot of exclamation points flashing over people's heads, a lot of anime abstractions and things like that.
Right.
I don't feel like we've been doing anything. I don't feel like the story's been progressing at all. They were haunted by a girl that works at Godfather's Pizza for a while, but they never really understood what that was. And Momoru was literally dead or being tortured in a demon dungeon somewhere. And it's like, oh, geez, well, it's summer, crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like we're not moving forward on that at all.
Yeah, you're right.
And they didn't even, Mouse kept showing up, but you've got 2 times the superheroes now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's the problem of I know about this, but do I tell people? And then it's like, well, can we be friends with the other superheroes? And it's never. And then the main bad guy just comes in and says, "You're fired from Godfather's Pizza," and they don't know what the context of that was.
No.
So they're still just living their lives.
Yes.
And I don't feel like we're really getting a lot of 9th grade stuff either.
No, we're not.
They're aware of it because even in this episode, everybody's got a lampshade on because they're all like, Usagi, you're acting like season 1 Usagi. You're supposed to be season 5 Usagi.
Yeah, right.
And I think it's fine to go back to that once in a while. But I want to know what it's in service of. Why are we doing this? What's going on? Why is this happening? And then instead of focusing, we've covered this territory before. Instead of focusing on the maturation of our favorite characters, they're like, guest writer J.J. Abrams says, what if another girl comes from the future? We don't know anything about her. There's a big question mark on her face.
Yeah, right.
And I don't know. I've complained before and it's just I would tell you that you don't have to worry about it, but I can't spoil it for you, Cal.
Right.
And it's usually worked out. Not all the time. But sometimes it works out. I'm hoping this is one of the times that it works out.
Yeah.
They got 15 episodes, which is not as many as it sounds.
No, it's not.
To answer a lot of questions, to solve a lot of things, and also to bon voyage these characters. You know what
yes.
I mean? We want a finale of sorts.
Yes.
And so, hopefully we can get there. And there's no movie.
No, there's no movie. So we don't have that.
All on the skinny shoulders of the show.
No, you're right.
Here's a question for you.
Okay.
Why were Rei and Makoto hanging out?
They can't hang out.
Mako Rei fans, get your ears on. Here we go.
I mean, maybe it is kind of a strange pairing, but I mean, they hang out. They all hang out.
I guess. You've had a group of friends, and there's a friend or two in there that you're not alone with a lot.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Rei and Mako.
Well, it's Rei and Mako. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I could probably come up with something for Ami and Minako, but
yeah, I could see that one too.
They both need to get some fish eggs. They're on sale. Actually, no. Why would Ami and Mina hang out?
Yeah, good question. Only if Minako wants study help.
Yeah, okay, all right. So anybody has an excuse to hang out with Ami.
I also liked how Usagi bowed really deeply when her mom came home from the grocery store.
But yeah, she's like, oh, thank you. I don't have anything. Screw you!
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The quick heel turn.
Usagi's a good person, see? And she raised 2 good kids, I guess. A 500 yen piece is $5, right?
Yeah, it's $5.
Right. It's only $5.
I know.
I guess it's good that she brought it back. Maybe she was bribing somebody. Next time you see me on the street, keep your white gloved hands off of me.
Oh my gosh.
She's got free reign of Juban now. She can walk around, do anything. Why doesn't somebody pick up this kid? She's got it in with the cops.
You stay clear of her.
Here's something that we haven't done since, I think, earlier in the show or the series. There's a lot of breaking things.
Yes.
We just did that big bit about things breaking.
No, you're right.
Which was great.
With
And
her
I
wings.
wouldn't trade it.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that'd be a good bit for this, wouldn't it?
It would be a
Where
good
she's
bit
like,
for
I
this.
must transform to save everyone. Sailor, so good moon. I'm gonna the name of the moon. I'll punish you. Right? That's where that goes here.
Yeah, I could see that here.
It's a good thing too because I've got, the sound effect.
The breaking sound effect.
You know the sound effect.
Yes, I do know the sound
That's
effect.
the breaking sound effect. You use that for everything.
Is that right?
Yes, that's right. That's the Wilhelm scream of pots breaking. If you hear that in a movie, unless it's a cartoon, or it's, I don't know, something that's very self-evidently like, a broad comedy, you're in trouble. Because that is stock sound effect. There's a name, I can't remember what the name is for it, but it's like Vase number 6 or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
If you don't know what we're talking about, here it is. So, yeah, if you hear that in a movie, you're watching a direct-to-video movie. You're not watching Twilight, you're watching Dusklight. When Tedward climbs in Yellow's window.
Oh my
knocks
gosh.
over her favorite thing, you hear. Okay. Oh, yep, okay. It's a cheap movie. Would you recognize the color of television tuned to a dead channel?
Have you seen attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion?
Is Neo Tokyo about to explode?
Are you a technical boy or a razor girl?
Do you live 20 minutes into the future?
Do you dream of electric sheep?
Do you know Kung Fu?
If your answer to any of these questions is yes, you may be a cyberpunk. And your only hope is Mona Lisa Overpod.
On each episode of Mona Lisa Overpod, we try to answer the question, what is cyberpunk? By diving into the movies, TV shows, and literature of the genre that takes a hard look at the future we're living in today.
Mona Lisa Overpod is available wherever you get your podcasts.
Jack in with us as we punch deck and snow crash our lawnmower. Man?
Oh man, you had it right up until the end there.
Hack the planet!
Right on.
Today for Kyoro Kyoro Miru, or Curiously Looking Around, where we talk about elements of Japanese culture within the episode, we're going to be talking about the history of zaibatsus.
Zaibatsus!
Yes.
I think Daihatsu also makes a zaibatsu, don't they? It's a 4-door. No.
Oh, it sounds like a car company.
I know what that is.
Zaibatsu refers to one of several large capitalist enterprises that developed in Japan after the Meiji Restoration of 1868, and that expanded rapidly during World War I. Zaibatsu literally means financial clique, and the word is formed of a compound of the Japanese word zai, meaning money or wealth, and batsu, meaning clique or clan.
Money Clique.
Yes.
I think I've seen that show. It was on CW.
The word was originally coined in the 19th century to refer to vertically integrated business conglomerates in the Empire of Japan, whose influence and size allowed control over significant parts of the Japanese economy from the Meiji period to World War II. The term was not in common use until after World War I, and zaibatsus were dissolved after World War II, which we will talk about in a bit, though there are still Japanese companies and conglomerates today that resemble the zaibatsus of the interwar period.
So my apprehension of that term, comes from fiction mostly cyberpunk fiction.
Okay.
Or like the future, where it's like, oh, Japan's got space programs or space astronauts.
Sure.
And like the Zaibatsu Corporation, Dai Honda or something, is doing this or that. That's where I get my cyberware from. But you're saying that they effectively were gone at the end of World War II.
Yes.
Huh. So why do people, it's kind of racist then when we keep going, oh, you guys got those zaibatsus. How your moga doing? It's like, what are you talking about? Like we've moved on from that. That's weird.
Yeah, you're right.
Is paleoeconomics a thing?
I don't
That's
know.
where you eat nuts and you work on your money markets. No, I mean, like, it must be, right? Looking at the history of, like, economics.
Yeah.
Because when you've got, like, a system, when you think about, like, economics in Europe, for instance, where you're going to move from feudalism, to, like, mercantilism, to capitalism, or whatever else they've got. And there's, like, a development, and different parts are more than others, and other areas have certain industries that they rely on that maybe keep them locked into a certain kind of, economic structure. Whereas like Japan is like, you can have a tea shop. I mean, there's farmers, I'm sure.
Yeah, right.
And then of course it's feudal up until the point where a iron warship comes in and goes, you guys need to play civilization a little faster here.
Yeah.
And we're going to do this. And then with the way you're describing it, almost immediately they're like, now we're capitalist. And because 10 minutes ago we all had swords at each other's throats, figuratively, our businesses are run like I'm the lord of this business and you're all my vassals. And, now we got ties.
Yeah, right.
Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, capitalism definitely leads to that no matter what. And you see that in America, you see that just in capitalism, like running something like it's a kingdom or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that they weren't like, let's try this. Let's try that. Right away, they're like, all right, that's what we got. Make a huge company. Continue oppressing the peasants, employees.
Yeah, right.
And we're just going to go from there.
Yeah.
And we're going to call it Money Clique. I think we got it.
I think we got it in one, everybody.
It's so weird.
I know. By definition, the zaibatsu were large family-controlled vertical monopolies consisting of a holding company on top, a wholly owned banking subsidiary providing finance, and several industrial subsidiaries dominating specific sectors of a market.
Right, that's the vertical integration.
Yes.
So they've got the bank to finance everything, they write their own loans.
Right.
They've got people that make stuff, so they're going to sell that and then also supply themselves. And then there's a company at the top that technically owns the whole thing, but isn't part of the other companies. It's, okay. Yeah, that's a dream. That's the Silicon Valley dream. That's the dream of American businessmen. That's the Carnegie way.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Either solely or through a number of subsidiary companies, the zaibatsu were the heart of economic and industrial activity within the Empire of Japan, and the great influence over Japanese national and foreign policies.
Yeah, that's something else. Because what are we talking about, right? World War?
Yeah.
Or Russo-Japanese War.
Yes.
World War I, World War II. So something else about that kind of economic structure is it's great for war production.
Yeah, you're right.
You can really get a war machine together.
Yeah.
Looking back, okay, so I guess paleoeconomics, I'm just describing history with receipts. But looking back, you go, oh boy, that's not surprising.
Right.
Obviously that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Sell your house in Manchukuo because this is not going to work out.
Yeah,
It was so clear where they were going looking back.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But the lessons of history you can give to your younger brother when he's in 9th grade. We're doing the same thing now.
Yeah.
We're basically doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, we are.
All right. Politics off.
The Riken Seiyukai political party was regarded as an extension of the Mitsui group, which also had very strong connections with the Imperial Japanese Army.
Am I getting ahead of you?
Maybe a little bit.
All right, so business is tied into it as well.
Yes.
Great.
Likewise, the Riken Minsetsu was connected to the Mitsubishi Group, as was the Imperial Japanese Navy.
Oh, great. Oh, the Army and the Navy.
Yeah. Let's get everybody in here. The zaibatsu were viewed with suspicion by both right and left of the political spectrum in the 1920s and 1930s. Although the world was in the throes of a worldwide economic depression, the zaibatsu were prospering through currency speculation, maintenance of low labor costs, and military procurement.
Yeah.
Matters came to a head in the League of Blood incident of March 1932.
Whoa.
With the assassination of the managing director of Mitsui, after which the zaibatsu attempted to improve the public image through increased charity work.
Oh, yeah, well, and we know how that turned out.
Yeah.
That's so funny. So, God, that's scary. But I mean, we've learned nothing from that lesson. And people always talk about like, oh, you know, it's just the way that like the Japanese are, this imperial thing, and do that thing where they paint an entire culture with a big brush, like we talk about how we don't want to do.
Right.
And when you look at how it's structured, they're like, the army is getting paid by Mitsubishi, which has bought a couple people, senators in the Diet or whatever.
Right.
Of course this country's going to go to war.
I know.
It benefits everybody who has money.
Yes.
And at the same time, the army and the government both look at the zaibatsu like, all right, buddy, we got our eye on you.
Yeah.
Even though they need them really bad because the powers that be that have the guns and the political power are like, but what happens when those guys get too much money?
Yes.
We don't want these guys to go Bezos on us.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, I'm just saying like the territorial, you know, colonial imperialist expansion of Japan, I think was driven as much by the greed of the economy than it was any idea of we need to be the shoguns of the planet Earth or something like that.
Yeah,
People
for
always
sure.
say that, but nobody ever thinks about the economic aspects of it.
No, you're absolutely right.
Because we don't learn economics.
No, we don't.
We don't in America.
No.
I think we'd be a lot madder if we knew economics. Politics are supposed to be off. Turn it off.
The League of Blood incident was an assassination plot in Japan in which extremists targeted wealthy businessmen and liberal politicians. The group chose 20 victims but succeeded in killing only 2. Former finance minister and head of the Riken Minseto political party, Junosuke Inoue, and the director general of Mitsui Holding Company, Dan Takuma.
You got Junosuke and Dan. Okay.
Yes. The arrest of the assassins led to the discovery of the existence of a civilian ultranationalist group led by self-styled Buddhist preacher Niso Inoue.
Oh, because I'm like, everybody's on board. Everybody's getting paid. Who doesn't like this? This is the 20th century version of we want the emperor back.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Like we had in the 19th century.
Yes.
Okay.
After the October incident, a failed coup d'etat by rightist army officers of the Sakurakai Ultranationalist Secret Society in 1931.
Ooh, cool.
Inoue became convinced that national reform could be achieved only through violent confrontation with what he saw as the forces of evil, pro-Western liberal politicians and zaibatsu business interests. He devised
These guys would have totally had a YouTube channel if that existed.
Oh, for
back
sure.
then. They'd have
Yes.
so many followers.
I know. He devised the slogan, Ichien Isatsu, one person, one kill, and drew up a list of 20 politicians and business leaders whose assassination would be the first step towards restoring supreme political power to the emperor, a platform known as the Showa Restoration.
Wow. They're making a lot of plans.
Yes.
This is something that we'll never, I guess if we ever do a shore leave again, maybe I volunteer as tribute, but I'm interested in the idea of revolution in Japan because
Sure.
you had a lot of clans fighting each other, like during
Yes.
the Warring States period. And so if somebody was like, no, my lord should be in charge of us and we should all be slaves to him.
Right.
But now you've got guys who ostensibly they're like, you know, they probably want the emperor back or to have more power and be in control again. But it is really, it's a nationalist movement. They see themselves as Japanese, and they see themselves as, and they were, don't get me wrong, I don't export their actions, but they were being exploited by business interests.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people were being dehumanized by capital, as you see everywhere. Their solution was, let's cut some guys' heads off. Not great.
Not great.
But in the past, that would have just been, we got rid of Lord A, now we're all with Lord B. Yay, all right, I'll get to work in the fields.
Yeah, right.
But this is like, no, we want like freedom and determination to be Japanese people. And so it's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But the legacy of blood, we can't clean that up at all?
I know. Inoue's original group made contact with a group of extremist officers in the Imperial Japanese Navy who strongly objected to Japan's acceptance of the Washington Naval Treaty of 1922. And a group of right-wing university students from Tokyo.
Oh, great.
I know. Inoue...
Wait a minute. So the leftist students meet in the coffee shops. The rightist students meet...
at an underground bar? I don't know.
At a Cold Stone Creamery. They're like, yeah, we got to get these crazy lefties out of here. M&M's, just mix them in there. Yeah.
Inoue distributed Browning automatic pistols to his followers. However,
where did he get those from?
I don't know. However, only 2 actually carried out the missions, killing Junosuke Inoue and Dan Takuma.
Everybody else overslept?
I guess.
They're right. We shouldn't have used right-wing college students.
All of this led to the
It was Pledge Week.
Yeah, right.
It was a bad plan.
All this led to the May 15th incident as a result of ratification of the London Naval Treaty limiting the size of the Imperial Japanese Navy. A movement grew within the junior officer corps to overthrow the government and to replace it with military rule.
Wait, this is the sequel? This is League of Blood 2, The Revenge?
Yes. This movement had parallels in the Sakurakai secret society organized within the Imperial Japanese Army. The naval officers established contacts with the ultranationalist Inoue Nisho and his League of Blood, and agreed with his philosophy that to bring about a Showa restoration, it would be necessary to assassinate leading political and business figures. On May 15, 1932, the naval officers, aided by Army cadets and right-wing civilian elements, staged their own attempt to complete what had been started by the League of Blood incident.
Wow.
Prime Minister Inukai Tsuyoshi was shot by 11 young naval officers in the Prime Minister's residence. Inukai's last words were roughly, "If I could speak, you would understand. Hane seba wakaru," to which his killers replied, "Dialogue is useless. Mondo muyo."
Wow.
The original assassination plan had included killing the English film star Charlie Chaplin, who had arrived in Japan on May 14th, 1932, at a reception for Chaplin planned by Prime Minister Inukai. Chaplin's murder would facilitate war with the U.S. and anxiety in Japan and lead on to restoration in the name of the emperor. When the prime minister was killed, his son, Inukai Takeru, was watching a sumo wrestling match with Charlie Chaplin, which probably saved both their lives.
So, yeah, we never would have got the great dictator. So, okay. It's just like, all right, hold it right there. He's like, swinging his cane around.
Oh, my God.
Blam.
Oh, my God, no. The insurgents also attacked the residence of Makino Nobukai, the Lord Keeper of the Privy Seal, head of the Riken Seiyukai political party, and tossed hand grenades into Mitsubishi Bank headquarters in Tokyo and several electrical transformer substations.
All right, these guys woke up on time.
Yes.
All right.
Aside from the murder of the prime minister, the attempted coup d'etat came to nothing, and the rebellion as a whole proved a failure. The participants took a taxi to the police headquarters and surrendered themselves to the Kempei Tai without a struggle.
Okay. Yeah, you got to have the people on your side. Otherwise, you're just a bunch of assholes just doing it yourself.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I recognize this because there was 11 guys, right?
Yes.
This is what they're referencing in Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, the second season, with the individual 11.
Okay.
who
That makes sense.
undertake themselves to do this revolutionary act. And I'm fairly sure, it sounds like it, that this is what Mishima was referencing when he was doing his thing, right?
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, only he had like 4 guys. He had even less.
Yeah.
We talked about Mishima, have we?
Not as a subject.
Yeah.
We've talked about him in passing.
All depressing shore leave. You do Mishima and
Okay.
I'll do whatever I was going to do.
Okay, that sounds good. The 11 officers who murdered Prime Minister Inukai were court-martialed. During the proceedings, the accused used the trial as a platform to proclaim their loyalty to the emperor and to arouse popular sympathy by appealing for reforms of the government and economy. By the end of the trial, the court had received 110,000 clemency petitions, either signed or written entirely in blood, from sympathizers around the country, leading for a latent sentence. Additionally, 9 youths in Niigata asked to be tried by the court instead of the accused, and sent the court a jar containing 9 of their own pickled, severed pinky fingers as a gesture of their sincerity. That's messed up.
So people wrote letters. I mean, that's a lot different than, honey, make me a Molotov cocktail. They sent letters. That's a lot different than getting support, people to come out into the streets with you.
Yes.
It seems like people felt a certain way about it.
Yes.
So this is a situation where I think we need to take into account that it's a different culture.
Yeah, I think so too.
Not because they're like, can't understand them, but the value system is a little different. And so these letters might be, we don't know the content of them historically.
No, we don't.
It could be, don't chop these guys' heads off or whatever, just let them stay in jail for a while. Like, they shouldn't have done that, but I guess I get why they did that. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I'd like a little more background on what the tone of some of those letters were.
I bet a lot of them were empathetic.
Yeah, because you can be empathetic without being like, I slept in. I was going to be there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like it doesn't mean like 100,000 people would have been in the streets.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
The punishment handed down by the court was extremely light, and there was little doubt in the Japanese press that the murderers of the Prime Minister Inukai would be released in a couple of years, if not sooner.
Oh, so it kind of worked.
Yeah, it did.
Huh.
Failure to severely punish the plotters of the May 15th incident further eroded the rule of law and the power of the democratic government in Japan to confront the military.
Yeah.
You're
speaking German right now, right? No. This is about Japan. Okay. Yeah. See what I mean?
Yes.
It seems so obvious.
Yeah.
In the future.
I know. Indirectly, it led to the February 26th incident.
God. How many incidents are there?
I know. An increasing rise of Japanese militarism. And we are going to skip the February 16th incident of 1936, another attempted military coup. But you get the idea.
So they had like 4 January 6s.
Yeah, right.
Okay. In between World War I and II.
Yes. Zaibatsus are a modernizing economic force in Japan, but they were very controversial among elements of the populace.
Huh.
The zaibutsu were at the heart of the economic and industrial activity within the Empire of Japan, since Japanese industrialization accelerated during the Meiji era. They held great influence over the Japanese national and foreign policies, which increased following the Japanese victory over Russia in the Russo-Japanese War of 1904 and 1905.
Right. And at that time, too, I was listening to some other podcasts recently where after, we've talked about this on the show before, actually. That was their sort of like debutante coming out ball for the world.
Yeah.
And these guys kicked Russia's ass.
Yeah.
So immediately, countries were sending like economic envoys to Japan, to feel it out and be like, we want to make sure these guys we want them to be right wing and capitalist.
Right.
Because they could just as easily, it's popular in this area of the world, go the other way and be leftist and be socialist. And so they were sending people to be like, wine and dine them and tell them how great it is to have a solid gold Model T or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
In Japan's victories over Germany during World War I. During the interwar period, the zaibatsu aided Japanese militarism and benefited the conquest of East Asia by receiving lucrative contracts. When Japan emerged from the self-imposed pre-Meiji era sakoku in 1867, Western countries already had very dominant internationally significant companies like Standard Oil, Carnegie, AT&T, General Electric, Western Union, and BP. Western countries were colonizing much of the undeveloped world, and Japanese companies realized that in order to remain sovereign, they needed to develop the same methodology and mindset of Western companies, and the zaibatsu emerged.
Just copy off of your paper.
Exactly. The big four zaibatsu, or Yondai zaibatsu, were the most significant zaibatsu groups. They were in the order of the founding Sumitomo, Mitsui, Mitsubishi, and Yasuda. Two of them, Sumitomo and Mitsui, had roots in the Edo period, while Mitsubishi and Yasuda traced their origins to the Meiji Restoration. Throughout Meiji to Showa, the government employed their financial powers and expertise for various endeavors, including tax collection, military procurement, and foreign trade. Beyond the big four, consensus is lacking as to which companies can be called zaibatsu and which cannot. After the Russo-Japanese War, a number of so-called second-tier zaibatsu also emerged, mostly as the result of business conglomerates and the awarding of lucrative military contracts. Some more famous second-tier zaibatsu include Okura, Furukawa, and Nakajima groups. The early zaibatsu permitted some public shareholding of some subsidiary companies, but never of the top holding companies of the key subsidiaries. The monopolistic business practices by the zaibatsu resulted in a closed circle of companies until Japanese industrial expansion on Asian mainland began in the 1930s, which allowed for the rise of the number of new groups, Shinko zaibatsu, including Nissan. These zaibatsu differed from the traditional zaibatsu only in that they were not controlled by specific families, but not in terms of business practices. The zaibatsu have been viewed with some ambivalence by the Japanese military, which nationalized a significant portion of their production capability during World War II. Remaining assets were also highly damaged by destruction during the war. Under the Allied occupation after the surrender of Japan, a partially successful attempt was made to dissolve the zaibatsu. Many of the economic advisors accompanying the SCAP, or Supreme Commander of the Allied Forces Administration, had experience with the New Deal and were highly suspicious of monopolies and restrictive business practices, which they felt to be both inefficient and to be in a form of corporatocracy, and thus inherently anti-democratic. During the occupation of Japan, 16 zaibatsu were targeted from complete dissolution, and 26 more for reorganization after dissolution. Among the zaibatsu that were targeted for dissolution in 1947 were Asano, Furukawa, Nakajima, Nissan, Nomura, and Okura. In addition, Yasuda dissolved itself in 1946. The controlling family's assets were seized, holding companies eliminated, and interlocking directorships essential to the old system for intercompany coordination were outlawed. The Matsushita Electric Industrial Company, which later took the name Panasonic, while not a zaibatsu, was originally also targeted for a breakup, but was saved by a petition signed by 15,000 of its union workers and their families.
Stereo owners everywhere. Thank them for that.
Yes. However, complete dissolution of the zaibatsu was never achieved, mostly because the U.S. government rescinded the orders in an effort to reindustrialize Japan as a bulwark against communism in Asia.
There we go.
Zaibatsu as a whole were widely considered to be beneficial to the Japanese economy and government, and the opinions of the Japanese public, of the zaibatsu workers and management, and of the entrenched bureaucracy regarding plans for zaibatsu dissolution ranged from unenthusiastic to disapproving. Additionally, the changing politics of the occupation during the reverse course served as a crippling, if not terminal, roadblock to zaibatsu elimination.
They come in, they're like, we've all worked on New Deal stuff. So, we know monopolies not great. So we should try to watch out for those. That's what we do in America. Okay, take them down. Take them all down. Wait, communists? Put them back up. Put them back up.
Exactly.
What a waste of effort.
I know.
All to stop communism.
Yep.
Can you imagine a communist Japan?
I can't.
There's
It's hard to
be an
imagine.
alternate universe novel out there
Yeah, I bet there is.
where Mao lands in Tokyo Bay.
Oh my gosh.
He's like, pretty good. Tear it all down.
Oh my god. Today, the influence of the zaibatsu can still be seen in the form of financial groups, institutions, and larger companies whose origins reach back to the original zaibatsu, often sharing the same original family names. For example, Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation. Despite the absence of actual sweeping change to the existence of large industrial conglomerates in Japan, the zaibatsu's previous vertical integrated chain of command, ending with a single family, has now widely been displaced by the horizontal relationships of association and coordination characteristic of keiretsu. Keiretsu, meaning series or subsidiary, could be interpreted as being suggestive of this difference.
Okay. So once again, they're still aping the West, or just doing what business is now, because now it's all diversified and spread out, and okay. All right.
Exactly.
Yeah. A subsidiary of Mitsubishi LLC. Yeah.
The term zaibatsu has been used often in books, comics, games, and films to refer to large and usually sinister Japanese corporations, often involved in shady dealings or with connections to the Yakuza. This may provide a plot hook or simply provide the background for a character from an influential Japanese family.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning of this. So that's interesting that it's not even... That concept is almost 80 years old now. It hasn't really been applicable since Stray Dog.
Yeah, right.
Wow. So why doesn't... I guess I've never read the Chrysanthemum and the Sword, but does it refer to that at all? When all the businessmen were reading, Chrysanthemum and the Sword in the wave of Japanese business in the 60s, we didn't get that, no, we don't. They're not zaibatsus anymore. They're kairetsus. It's a different thing.
That's a great question. I don't know if they got that.
I mean, I guess we still, talk about samurai and stuff like that, but that's part of Japanese culture, like ancient culture.
Right. For
a wild 55 years, they had giant mega corporations or whatever. And then Douglas MacArthur's like, all right, knock that off. Hold on. Keep a couple of them.
Yeah, right.
Because of the Reds. But they're not zaibatsus anymore. They're something else.
Yes.
We still say
rebranded.
zaibatsu. You wrote a cyberpunk novel tomorrow, you'd be like, he didn't like working for the zaibatsu. But all his Yakuza connections made sure that... Interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm going to stop saying zaibatsu then. Stop calling Mitsubishi a zaibatsu.
Itadakimasu with Usagi. What did Usagi eat in this episode? So there was the pizza festival delivery driver. Yeah. So she smelled the pizza.
Pizza festival.
Yes.
She did not float after the moped, though, and that was restraint on their part.
Yes, it was. Usagi yells, "Mom, do you have any snacks? I'm starving," when she gets home.
I'm hungry, rolling.
Chibi Chibi has a spread of snacks out in front of her, donuts, cookies, and cake. Chibi Chibi eats donut after donut, and she offers a donut to Usagi, who is very grateful. Usagi greets her mom when she returns from the grocery store and asks her for snacks, and her mom said that she completely forgot about that. Usagi says that her mom gave Chibi Chibi so many snacks, but her mom says that she didn't give her any snacks. Chibi Chibi gives Usagi some candy. Usagi says that she must be getting the snacks from a candy land. And they have tea and twirled up biscuits at Kuriyama-san's place.
Yeah.
Feeling Gauge, where you rate a baddie 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. The phage in this episode is Sailor Antique. In his design, he has light blue skin, brown hair, bushy eyebrows, and a mustache. And he's wearing knight armor. It's royal blue with gold shoulders that have spikes on them and gold elbows. He's wearing a red and white Sailor Fuku collar that has a rose embroidered on it. And he's wearing a red skirt with a blue and yellow embellishment on the front. He's wearing blue kneecaps, on the side of which have gold wings. And he's wearing blue and gold shoes that have gold spurs on the back of them. He's wearing a gold helmet with a pink headdress. And he also has a sword.
And a gut.
And a gut, yes.
His shirt doesn't go all the way down.
Yes, his shirt doesn't go all the way down.
Was he overweight when he was a human?
I think he was husky, but I don't think he was necessarily overweight.
No.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be, gluttonous.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so. And so now we're up to our rating. He throws antiques, saying how much they cost as he throws them. He does Sailor Antique power-up version, and then he's on a horse, which appears to be real at first, but then it's a machine that you pedal to move forward. I enjoyed his power-up. I thought that was really fun, and I thought he was more dynamic than some of the other phages that we've seen. So I'm going to give him 4 out of 5 Dark Stars.
Yes. I am going to, I'm going to do something that I don't want to do, but I feel obligated to do. And that is give him 5 out of 5 Dark Stars. It's not, we'll talk about it in just a little bit. This episode is just like, where is it going for so long? And he's not in it for very long. But he is visually interesting enough. He has enough of a personality. Ironically, usually I give points for how powerful they are.
Yeah.
I don't know what this guy does. Because he doesn't ever really get to do it. Who knows what would happen when that hobby horse ran into Usagi.
Yeah, right.
But the patheticness of his powers is totally countered by the elan with which he performs them. And as far as I can tell, he's the only phage who has shown sailor power ability. They're all named Sailor, but none of them are snipering, none of them are bubbling or oak evolutioning or anything like that. And it seems like he's got some kind of thing. Now, it appears to be totally crappy and ineffective.
Yes.
Is this just was he a legacy hire or something like that? It's like, why would you? This guy gets picked last for kickball. But he's doing something. No other phage has done that.
Yes.
And if they're supposed to be sailors, they should be emulating, sailor abilities. Well, I think, didn't the TV camera one or the actress one? I think Sailor Actress might have done something like that. But anyway, the point is that's cool. And him showing different emotions and having a dialogue with Usagi. And he also sort of he's what the phages ought to be, they're phages. What I think the phages ought to be, which is a twisted version of who they are in real life.
Yes.
And not all the phages are like that. Some of them are just
right.
I'm a goofy monster. Guts.
Yes.
Could have been that.
Guts.
And this is he's a kindly old man, but also he's a kindly old billionaire that runs a zaibatsu, and those people are only so human. And so a little sailor magic means that we see, he's like this, that's mine, and you owe me this, and that's a perfect inversion of that character to something evil. So, you know what? I talked myself into it. Yeah, I'm sticking with 5.
All right.
That's pretty
Sounds good.
5 out of 5 Dark Stars.
Nice. I do have some trivia for this episode. This is the last episode where Ikuko Mama appeared.
Mama! No!
Yeah, I know.
Just saying goodbye to everybody.
Yeah.
All right.
The second...
Pour one out for Mama. Pour some lemonade out for Mama.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
The second version for Star Sensitive Inferno was featured in this episode. The main change was the inclusion of the Sailor Star Yell.
Right.
This was the last episode where Eternal Sailor Moon did Starlight Honeymoon Therapy Kiss.
Interesting.
The pose Sailor Antique struck to summon the white horse for his attack was identical to the one Sailor Chibi Moon used to summon Pegasus with Twinkle Yell.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's pretty great.
I don't want to think about it.
In this episode, Chibi Chibi is playing with a Jumo doll similar to the one Mika Kayama made in episode 18.
Right. Throw way back.
Yeah.
To the evil doll episode.
Yes.
I gotta work on this doll. And then she becomes like she has like a different personality when she's working on the doll, right? She's like, I'm gonna work on this doll.
Yes.
Shut up, Mom. I gotta finish this doll. Ugh, creepy.
It is creepy. So now we're up to our rating. I like how Chibi Chibi is walking along the wall like it's a balancing beam, and then she falls. The girls freak out, and she pulls out her parasol and floats down to the ground.
Yeah, not apropos of nothing.
I know.
She's immune to fall damage. Now
yes,
we know.
Exactly.
Well, I wish I had you up on that floating elephant.
I like how the girls are hiding up a foam pole from the dog when the three lights appear and ask what they're doing. I like that Sailor Antique is throwing antiques but gets upset if something breaks. I like that Sailor Antique does his power-up and it's kind of pathetic. I like that Chibi Chibi is holding Usagi's hair instead of her hand as they walk home because she can't reach her hand. This episode had some really good moments, I feel like, but it had some not... Well, I guess it didn't have that many bad moments, but I feel like I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's a gut feeling.
Yeah.
Mine's a gut feeling. It's 4. 4 out of 5. Dark Stars. How could this be 4? All I do all day is talk about Looney Tunes and Chuck Jones cartoons and Roadrunner. But here's the deal. It's got to fit. It's got to be germane and organic to what's going on. And unlike other episodes that veered into the goofy, this feels sweatily intentional. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, clearly, I guess I know now, something's going to happen next episode because we're not doing the shtick anymore. And we keep, parts keep falling off of the plane here as we continue on. So, usually when we get to this point, I guess this is maybe the new halfway point with the addition of the Nahalania episodes. And
yes.
We're reaching like the crest of the hill here. We know that like those last couple episodes are like, this is what we had, right?
Yes.
And to me, this feels like we got nothing. So I don't know. Chibi Chibi does something. We'll try to put as many bits and gags in there as possible. And I love the bits and gags, but they don't integrate with what's happening quite as well as, say, Usagi's having a dinner party and everybody's invited.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I enjoyed them all, but they were almost just completely apropos of nothing out of nowhere. Now this has happened. Now this has happened. Now this is happening. And then a little thing with the night guy at the end. So I don't feel like it hung together quite as well as like the new standard for goof-ass episodes. Episode 184. Or 185, excuse me. Episode 185. But yeah, still, great to see these bits. Great to see Mako Ray and Aminako running around doing stuff.
Yeah, right.
And it's also just weird. We went from like, I don't think we can trust these guys. Oh, he's going to assault Usagi in the VIP room.
I know.
Did he know? And now they're just all just hanging out for an entire day. Where are we going? Oh, we're going to go there. We're going to break into this guy's house? All right, great. Yeah, there's some new things in here. The show can still surprise me after all this time. So don't be embarrassed. You got a 4.
My English title is Antique Doll Costly Brawl.
Good stuff. Good stuff. American Girl. Take it for a twirl. I like it. Mine is... this will be self-evident to any movie fan. I think it fits completely. All we needed was a gorilla. I'm going to call this one Chibi Chibi's Day Out.
Next episode, we are talking about episode number 187. Kagayaku Hoshi no Pawa. Chibi Chibi no Henshin in Japanese. And the English translation, The Shining Power of a Star. Chibi Chibi's Transformation.
What?
Yeah.
So, it's Chibi Star. Oh, of course. Not Chibi. Chibi. I wish it was Chibi Star.
Yeah.
Chibi's transformation. She's going to turn into... Yes, I was Mistress 9 the entire time. Oh my God, no!
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of Mistress 9, we saw Mistress 9.
Yeah, we did.
We had a good time. We went to a Sailor Moon drag brunch that turned into a dinner.
Yes.
Long story, but fantastic. I have been inducted into the drag show family now.
Yes, me too.
I feel like I've seen drag performers before, but I've never gone to a full-on drag show. And it was great. I'm glad I remembered to bring singles.
Yes, no kidding.
And to bring paper money. We would have been in a lot of trouble if we didn't do that. But it was so creative and so fantastic. And the performers were so good. And when you're a performer, I'm not a Roman general, but I play one on TV. I don't know if they knew anything about Sailor Moon.
Right.
A lot of LGBTQ people, not saying they are, but know about Sailor Moon anyway. So there's a good chance.
Yes.
But whether or not they knew, their costumes were great. Their performances were spotted. They were doing the hand moves and stuff like that, and getting the attitude down.
Yes.
And it was just really great. And they did a lot of deep cuts. They did some outer senshi, and they did some deep cut villains.
Yes.
One was Artemis.
Yes.
You think you get Luna, right? But there was Artemis that was really great. And just really great time. I'd like to recommend them to you. I don't know if they do things in your area. I think they are based in the Midwest and do things in Chicago and Minneapolis, but it's a company called Flip Phone Events.
Yes.
And you can look them up online. But yeah, just had a really great time and found out that I know more drag show music than I thought I would. You think you're going to go in there and be like, okay, yeah, I'm a Bob Dylan guy. But it's like, I know all these songs. What's that saying about me? I miss my calling.
I think maybe you missed your calling.
Yeah. You always say I do have the legs for it, ironically. I don't think I have the hips for it, though.
Oh, really?
But if you get a chance to see a drag show, especially a Sailor Moon drag show in your area, I definitely recommend that you go do that.
It was so much fun.
I put some pics up on our Discord. There's a link in our show notes if you want to join our Discord. And then I'm going to go through the rest of them, take the blurry ones out or whatever. And I got a couple videos too, so maybe I'll put that up too if people are interested in seeing that.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, so check that out. Check out our Patreon too. If you're not a Patreon member, if you're not a member of our Senshi team, well, what the hell, man? I've got lots of thoughts about drag show music, so maybe we'll talk about that on one of our Patreon shows. We've got a whole bunch of other Patreon podcasts available at patreon.com/Sailor Noob. Join us, become a member of our Senshi team today by going to patreon.com/Sailor Noob.
Well, that's our show for this week, and the Name of the Moon will be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.
I'm hungry! Rolling.